Hello and welcome to the Dragon Den. I'm King of Dragons 5000 and today I have another action figure review. Today I'll be taking a look at the Patriot Studios Alcina Dimitrescu. But before we have a look at the figure, a moment to thank today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by Gundamit.com. Action figures, model kits, and other collectibles, check out Gundamit.com with a link in the description. We're finally having a look at Lady Dimitrescu here on the Dragon Den, and I have to say Patriot Studios has done an amazing job. The figure does look amazing, however there are some issues that we do run into. Lady Dimitrescu is gonna come with two different head sculpts, as well as her large brimmed sun hat. She will come with her cigarette, two pairs of regular hands, and a pair of monstrous claw hands. As we take a closer look at Lady Dimitrescu, I have to say Patriot Studios has done an amazing job with this vampire. The detailing on her is quite impressive, and I am really glad they put her in scale with 1/12 scaled action figures. The face sculpt on Lady Dimitrescu is done very well, and I really do like the expression that Patriot Studios gave her. That little smirk is such an iconic feature of Lady D, and I really do like the skin tone. The paint job on her face is done exceptionally well, from the makeup that we see underneath her eyes to those very piercing yellow eyes. We even do get some shading, just highlighting those very beautiful cheekbones. Her hair is also sculpted very nicely, as it almost covers one side of her face. The top of her head is going to be a little bit flat, but that's just to accommodate her hat. As we move down, you can see that Lady D is wearing this very intricate necklace. Her necklace is going to have these pearls, which are sculpted and painted very well, and I really do like the shade of gold they chose. They did a really good job matching the skin tone, as it does look like a continuation from her head down to her dress. On the left side of her dress you can see she does have a black flower, which is done very nicely, and I really do like the glossy paint. And the sculpt work on her dress is gonna be very well done, as we get some really nice little details in the folds and wrinkles. The paint job on her dress is done very nicely, as it highlights all those really impressive details. The brown dry brushing highlights all the folds and wrinkles that you can see going all the way to the back of her dress. The dress does have this flap, which is sculpted very nicely, and you can see it is divided, and the paint job on it is still very impressive. The sleeves are going to continue down her arms, where that sculpt is very crisp and very clean, and the paint job only highlights how much detailing they put into her sleeves. The sleeves will bunch up as we get closer to the cuffs, and I really do like the fact that they sculpted some buttons as well as the open sleeve. And they did a really good job sculpting her black leather gloves. The rest of her dress is going to be sculpted very well. As you can see, Patriot Studios put a lot of detail in the folds and wrinkles going down her dress. I love the way it looks like it just blends into itself, as the front part is sculpted differently from the rest of her dress. And Patriot Studios has done a great job sculpting some of her more prominent physical features. As we continue down the dress, you can see it does get darker with this brown wash, which only highlights how much detail this dress actually has. Surprisingly, they did sculpt legs for Lady D here. Unfortunately, you really don't see them, as the dress is static, and the only way to really get her legs out is to pull them off. Her legs are going to be sculpted nicely from the knee going down to her foot, but as you get onto her hips, it is sculpted in a way to accommodate her dress. Overall, Patriot Studios has done a great job with Lady Dimitrescu, as there's a lot of details to look at. A beautiful sculpt in the head, and the rest of her dress is done very well, and it's only highlighted by that exceptional paint job. So with her paint and details out of the way, let's compare Lady D to our usual suspects. As Lady Dimitrescu is in scale, she's gonna tower over domestic toy lines. And she gets only taller as you compare her to true 1/12 scale. Lady Dimitrescu is going to have a double ball joint in her head. Her arms hinge out to the side and do a full 360. She has a hinge and swivel at her elbow. Finally, she will have a ball hinge at her wrist. Patriot Studios has done a great job taking Lady Dimitrescu from the video game and bringing her into action figure form. It's clear a lot of love and care went into this figure, as the details are very spot on and imitate what we saw in the game almost perfectly. I do feel like her shoulders are a little bit too broad, but overall the silhouette this figure casts is very nice. And I really do like the inclusion of her monstrous claw hands, as it brings the look together nicely. She does have those two head sculpts, but I feel like the smirking head is probably going to be the go-to for this figure. Although this figure does shine in terms of sculpt and details, as well as the paint, she really does suffer in articulation. Essentially, she's just going to be a statue with movable arms and a movable head. However, in this form, she really didn't move around too much, so I understand what Patriot Studio was going for. I would have just preferred having a little more articulation, maybe some double joints in the elbows. And though it is a nice Easter egg being able to pop off the front part of her dress, I really can't show that on YouTube. Just take my word for it that the sculpt and paint are done nicely underneath her dress. Overall, she's still a very solid figure, and the fact that they made her in scale is another reason to love Lady Dimitrescu. I did pick up my Lady Dimitrescu from Gundamit.com for about $80 now. Unfortunately, at the time I'm making this video, the reissues of Lady Dimitrescu are sold out, and the only way to get her at this point is through secondhand market. If you're a fan of Resident Evil The Village, or just a fan of Lady Dimitrescu, I highly recommend you track down this figure and add her to your collection. Before we go, a huge shout out to Gundamit.com for supplying this figure so I could review it for you guys. If you're interested in first party, third party action figures, model kits, and other collectibles, definitely check out Gundamit.com with a link in the description. And thank you for watching another video here on the Dragon Den. But before you go, don't forget to hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and check out all my other action figure videos. If you're in a position to help out the Dragon Den, check out my Patreon where I have some exclusive content and early access videos. Check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, videos, recent pickups, latest prints, and as always, ring that bell so you never miss another video. And until next time, my loyal Dragonites, coming from the Dragon Den, I'm King of Dragons 5000 reminding you to redesign, rebuild, and reclaim. I'll see you next time.